Hey everyone, it's Kanel. I'd just like to take a moment to walk you through the statistics, how I got there, how I got them, and sort of what I think that the best long-term trades are, according to what I've found anyway, as well as a couple other useful pieces of information. I do have a lot of information. I'll try to talk slow, but at the same time, I want to get through quickly so I don't lose your guys' attention. Let's see, I'm going to break this up into a few different parts. The first one is the method of how I collect data. Okay, so we get here, we have, you see all of this data, it looks all put together. What I start with is you take, okay, you have the 3-6 AM charts. This is March 6th, EU down. I don't record trend anymore, so no need to include that. As you see, I kind of stopped. I realized over time that it didn't matter that much. It added a little bit, but it didn't matter that much. The arrows are monumentally more important. Okay, so basically what I do, this is one long-term trade that I have going. Basically what I do is I look at on the 15-minute. I just started doing that because I can go back in time further. If you go on the 2 minutes, you can't go back in time as far. March 6th. So you go back to March 6th. You need to know the right time, and you can't get mixed up with these time zones because that can be bad. If you go into, let's see, I have it in my history here. If you go right here, this is just to double check that you're looking at the right time. Oops, sorry. If you add in here UTC, add in here Eastern time, you just say New York, whatever's in New York. So we take these trades at 8:30 or as close to 8:30 as we can get, and so we set. The reason I do this is just because, as you guys know, the time zones change in America and in Europe differently. Greenwich Mean Time doesn't change the time zone either, so we just need to make sure that we're always looking at the right time here. Why did that happen? Okay, so we know that 8:30 on March 6th AM New York time is 1:30 PM UTC. Oh, that went to Greenwich Mean Time, but UTC plus 0. Okay, so we look for 1:30, which is right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out as close as, this is going to be an estimation. It's okay if it's a little bit off because not everybody's going to take the trade at exactly the same time, and this usually doesn't win by 1-2 pips. It's usually like 10, 20, 30, 100, however many. And so, yeah, basically, I know that it entered right here and it exited right here, so it's going to be closer to this end. We have 1.062, 1.0599. This is probably going to be, it's going to be like 1.601 maybe, or 1.6 exactly, something like that. So I write down my entry price, 1.06. And it's okay if it's a couple off because you never know exactly what time you're going to take it. And also, you don't know what the charts say yet. You haven't looked at them yet. You want to see which way it went first before you know which way the charts went, so that you're not biased. You think, oh, well, it's just a couple of pips this way, a couple of pips that way. Maybe it made it, kind of looks that way. You want a more definitive answer, and some, so you're not going to be biased. So basically, before you look at the charts, you're going to say, okay, now I'm looking, if it's 1.06, I'm going to say 1.065 up or 1.055 down. 50 pips up, 50 pips down. That's what you're looking for. Whichever, if it hits, you just want to see which one it hits first. You can see here, it's only just broke above 1.6 at 1.06 again. It's getting close right here, but not quite. No, sorry, that's just up back to 1.6. Here again, close 1.055, but we're maybe 6 off. Here, definitely. Yeah, 1.055 is right about here, but that's, at least, I don't know, 7 or 8 pips more, but yeah, even more, maybe another 20 pips. So that's very clearly down. So then you write down here. You color it green so that it matches with whatever else is green over here. so you can change this to green, whatever it happens to be. So we know that this one right here is down. We'll go ahead and take a look back at the 3 and EU, and then what we'll do is we'll take this. I do all these at once, but just to give you an example, we have the EU is a 4-hour down, right? Down. EU is daily up. Oops. Up. Oh. Daily up. And weekly also up. We count this red arrow right here. Okay, and then so we've got that, and then we're going to say, okay, ATM, we have two scores of up. We color that one also up, which is red, because that means it failed. So if you took this trade solely based on the weekly, that means it failed. If you took it solely based on the 4-hour, it succeeded. So that is basically how we get each point of data. Then obviously you go through the whole thing. I do not count candles. I count candles with reversal signals, but like you saw in the the EU. But if you look at like this one, for example, 317 on the UJ, I would not count this. I would just say there's nothing there. If it's got an arrow down and a reversal up, I still want to kind of look at, see which one of those tend to be more accurate. Maybe I don't know if the reversal does or if the other one does, but I just left it out. I said don't take that trade. You keep going down, and obviously all the way until the end. This represents 32 trading days. It's 7 weeks. Obviously 7 weeks is 35 days, and so there are a few days that we left out, Monday and a Wednesday, I think. A few Mondays and a Wednesday. I don't remember. I think the Wednesday one, there was just no chart, and I don't remember about the Mondays. Oh, one Monday I had the wrong chart in there, and I had to delete. And then another one, I think it was just gone. But it shouldn't affect, overall averages that much. And I mean, law of averages should go over time anyway. Okay, so anyway, I wrote the days of the week here, and I did that. I didn't think it would matter at first, but it turns out it does. It's quite a bit, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Next thing is these are how well each signal did individually. That means if you took all trades just based on the 4-hour, it was about 52.53% accurate. If you did it just on the daily, 48.65. And this is profitable, this is not. And so that's something that's important to note. Using this setup, I don't really like the daily signals. They tend to not work as well. That's not to say the daily doesn't work. That just means for this setup it doesn't work. Maybe the dailies work better for 100 pips or for 20 pips or just generally for something else. Maybe they work better in conjunction with support and resistance or something like that. I don't know. That's just for this setup. It doesn't work that well. Weekly, 56. This is the best that we got from just one group, taking it solely based on one group. And the idea here is that weekly, most of the time, the trade is just going, the pair is going to be in the direction of the weekly trade. If you take the weekly arrow, if you take one look at I mean, most of these. Let's see. Let me get one down here. If you take a look at the EU, for example, I think you'll see in a minute, but the EU and the UJ are the two best ones. Most of the time, it's going up with the weekly signal. Down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, down, down. Most of the time, except during reversals. Okay. So if you're taking anything just by itself, it would be the weekly. Let me go for a second. This is profitable. Let me just show you the way you find this out. You take, I have 114 wins. I should go back. 217 total trades minus 114 wins is 103 losses, okay? So you have 114 wins minus 103 losses. You have a net 11 wins. That's times 50 pips. You have 550 pips. Now you should subtract commission. This is going to be different depending on your broker, but I found that it's generally about 1.6 pips approximately. And 1.6 pips, that includes opening and closing commission, and your average swap fee, which if you're not sure what a swap fee is and you want to take long terms, you should get to know it. Basically, what happens is, in addition to regular commission, the broker will charge you a little bit extra to keep your keep your trade overnight. It's usually equal to about half your entire commission, or the same as one opening commission and one closing commission. That's going to depend on the broker, but I'm talking from experience on using FX Pro. Okay, so taking the 4 hour by itself is 202 pips over the course of 32 days. Over 32 days. Obviously that's profitable, but it's not ideal. You want more than that. I mean, 6.337. You can. You trade 1,000 pounds of pip. You need a lot of money to do this because you can have a lot of failures. Also, if you do 1,000 pounds of pip, I mean that's $6,000 in 2 months. It's something. But you need to do 1,000 pounds of pip. You need a lot of money in the bank. So this isn't going to be ideal. Weekly is much better. If you were to take 224 minus 126, you have 98 losses. And if you take, so you have 126 minus your 98 losses, that's 126 wins. You have a net 28 gain. Multiply that by 50 pips, you have 1,400. You subtract your commission, about 1.6 times the number of trades that you've taken, times 224. Oops. Times 224. You have a total 1,041. 1,041 pips over 32 days. Okay? Now, you divide that by 32 days, you've got 32 pips a day. That's not bad. That's not... You can definitely do better. And you'll see right here, you have something really similar on the ATM. You'll see fewer trades on the ATM than on the weekly because of some reversal signals where we didn't take the trade. Maybe if you counted the reversal signals, it would be similar. I don't really know. That is something that I'd like to figure out. But yeah, so if you want to take a weekly or an ATM, just simply for 50 pips every single time, you will come out on top. You will become profitable. However, there's something that's more profitable. And you'll see right here, we have the matching weekly and 4 hour. When I started this, I thought that this was going to be it because it was just so good. You have 59 over 100. And this is actually what I started. You'll see in a minute. I'll show you some real trades. This is what I started doing to begin with in real life. It's 59% effective. 59% accurate, or it seems to be anyway so far. And which is good for, let's see. We take, you have 59 wins minus, out of 100, you have 41 losses. Oops. No, sorry. 59 minus 41. That means you have 18 net wins times 50 pips each. You subtract your commission. You have 740 pips. And that's not bad. Again, that's not bad. 740 pips over 32 days. But again, I'm going to show you how to get even more accurate. This has a higher winning percentage, so you can allot more money to it more safely than here, but it obviously has fewer pips, about 300 fewer pips over the course of 32 days. Now, here's my kind of dissection of these stats. Here's the raw data. Here are my real trades. Here's my dissection of the stats. I separated these out by days of the week. I didn't really know what to expect, but I was kind of looking for patterns. I also separated them out by currency pair. So you have the weekly, 4 hour, daily, matching weekly and 4 hour. Because again, I thought that this one was going to be, the end all be all, the king. And it does pretty well, but we can get better than that even. I found that the weekly by itself was pretty darn good on everything except Monday. And I kind of, my working explanation of this is that Monday has, first of all, it's much slower, and so smaller movements, which means that on Monday pairs may move like on in the middle of the week, a pair will kind of ride out. It'll break lines of support and resistance up and down. But on Monday, when when the pairs don't move as much, they seem to kind of stop at smaller, like 2-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute lines of support and resistance. So that's kind of my working explanation. I don't know if that's true or not. You'll see just the opposite on the 4-hour, and I think that this is why. The 4-hour seems to be more accurate when the currency is moving, when volume is low, when currency is not moving much. And you'll see really similar things. If you go on the weekly right here, you'll notice that on EU and UJ, it's 74.2% accurate, 67.74% accurate, versus something like the AU where it's 38.7% accurate. Obviously, that's would be would be profitable if you took it the other way. And so my working theory here is that because the EU and the UJ are the two most traded pairs in Forex, I actually thought it was the EU and GU, to be honest, and so I was kind of puzzled like this at first, but I did a bit of research and found that it is in fact the EU and the UJ, and so it's no secret that these really work out that well. It has a lot to do with volume, among other things. And we also find the best commissions and what's it called, spread on these two. Yeah, so basically the EU and the UJ are king here. Friday is king here with 67.34%. This is also the most momentous day, and and it seems to work really, really well. I'm going to get to this in a minute, but we're going to go through some math here once I'm talking about the 4-hour and the daily. Day of the week, I did the same thing on the 4-hour, obviously. Monday worked really, really well. And I think, again, my working theory is just that the 4-hour works better than the weekly when things are slow, because things are more likely to, break smaller lines of or weaker lines of support and resistance on Friday and less likely on Monday. Similarly, as well, you'll see the UC taking 70% here. The EU still does pretty well. The GU does a bit better. The UG kind of tanks here, and I think the EUJ and the EU are sort of in the same boat. If you move on to the daily, again, I don't like this for this setup. I don't like the daily that much, but it does really, really well on the AU, 62.5% compared to 38.7% on the weekly. And I think that this has a lot to do with volume and momentum. And so in the future, I'll be taking the AU based on the suggestion of the daily signal here. Okay, similarly, matching weekly and 4-hour. It depends on the day of the week a lot. This does really, really well on Friday, and it's no surprise because if you take a look at the weekly signal on Friday, it's 67.34%, the best day, right? And then on the 4-hour, the Friday is 63.04%, the second best day behind Monday. And so it's no surprise that they come together to create 82.6% accuracy on Friday, the matching weekly and 4-hour. You could take just this and you have 19 wins and 4 losses, which means net 15 wins. Net 15 wins times 50 pips minus times 1.6. You could take this setup only on Friday and still make 713 pips in, how many Fridays? There's 7 Fridays. That's 101 pips a day, 102 pips a day. I mean, obviously it's only Friday, so it's not really 102 pips a day, it's just 102 pips every Friday, but that's still really, really significant. And, again, I can scream this all I want, but multiply that times 1,000 pounds and it's, almost 102 grand a week. That would make anybody rich. Basically, if you take you just take the weekly symbols and simply subtract Monday, because it's the least profitable day, and the AU, because it's the least profitable pair, you'll get 104 over 163, which is 63.8%, a net 45 trade gain. You multiply that by 50 pips per trade, subtract commission 1.6 times 100 and, oh shit, I did that wrong. That's why. Hold on just a sec. 1,000 times 63, 19892.2. You have that 32 total trading days minus 5 Mondays is 27 days. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw the AU back in there, except we're going to do it just on the daily. This is the AU on daily, subtract the Mondays as well. So we have 17 out of 27, or 7 net wins minus the commission right here, which is about 306.8 pips after commission. This right here wasn't quite right. So we have this is the total pips for everything Tuesday through Friday minus the AU. And then this is the total pips for the AU itself. Which means that I got this off a little bit. Let's see. I'm doing this a little bit on the fly. 2296. 2,296 pips, Tuesday through Friday, 27 days. And that means that this is going to be a little bit off. Over 27, 85.04. Let's say that. 85.04 pips on average per day. Let's say 85 pips per day. And then we have, basically we know that even though the weekly signal doesn't work that well on Monday, we know that the 4-hour signal works really well on Monday. And so on 4-hour signals, on Monday we'll take all 4-hour signals across all pairs, including the AU. So then what that gives you is 24 out of 35. Excuse me. 24 out of 35, which is 68.57%. You have a net 13 wins times 50 pips a win, subtract your commission, and you get 594 pips. Now, if you want to get the average per day, you have 594 divided by 5 equals 118.8 per Monday on average. Then we have this right here. We have 85 pips per day times 4 days, the Tuesday through Friday. This is to get the number per week. 85 times 4 plus your average for Monday, 118.8. 458.8. 458.8 pips per week after commission, right here. And that equals out to a total of 145 wins out of 225 loss. 145 wins out of 225 total, or 64.44% win rate. If you didn't understand any of that, just take this right here. This is the most important bit. Blindly take the weekly signal Tuesday through Friday, except for the AU. Take the daily for AU, Tuesday through Friday. Then on Monday, blindly take the 4-hour signals on all pairs. Always set stop loss and take profit 50 pips, and let it run until it hits the stop loss or take profit. And that's what you end up with, 458 pips per week on average. And so just to give you kind of, that's the pips per day. Sorry, there are a bunch of motorcycles around. I don't know why. 458.8 divided by 5. That's going to be your average pips per day, including Monday. We're going to times, there's about 21 trading days in a week, or in a month, sorry. Sometimes 22, but that's what you're going to end up with, 1,926.96 per month on average. Real trades that I've taken. So here's one that's currently in progress on the AU. You have a matching. This is I've only taken on live trades. I've only taken this setup right here because I thought it was so great, and I've come to realize that there's something much better. Hold on a sec. This is the data up until last Friday, right here, for this setup. This is the data since then. Now you can ignore these. I realized I was taking trades from the wrong charts. I kind of screwed up on that. I was taking trades on the wrong charts, and so you can pretty much forget about those. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wins, and 1, 2 losses. That's 10 out of 12. We can pretty safely add this to here to show our kind of our average. So what that becomes is you add the 10 wins and you add the 12 total, and that becomes 69 over 112. 61.6%, and which seems pretty good. It's a little bit better than 59. And if we take, yeah, that's it. So that's the percentage so far of all the data that we've come up with here. Now, this is just this week. I've been taking this for, oh, you see right here, I have another one that's currently winning, as you already seen. I've been doing this since before this week, 2 weeks, so 3 weeks total. And you'll see here, I did start with 100 pounds, so I have 166 pounds in this account now. But that's not quite the accurate amount of money because, one, I wasn't paying attention to leverage, and two, I made a lot more. So that for that reason it should be higher. But I also made more than 50 pips on the French election. I made about 150, 75, 225 extra pips on the French election. And so that has made the money higher. So I'm not sure exactly how much this should be. But what I can show you, I mean, based on this whole strategy, what I can show you is all of these, and I can kind of add up the total number of pips. This is how I've been doing this. Oops. I'll just go ahead and start a new document here. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to, I screwed up in the beginning and I took AM trades and PM trades on the same account. I thought I'd be able to do that, but I was not able to finish the PM for a few different reasons. I wasn't able to finish the PM trades. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete these to give you a more representative look of how this looks on the on the AM charts. I'm also going to delete those which are not 50 pips because I did not mean to take them. I'm going to change this. Actually, I'll show you how much that is with that because that does happen, and then I'll take it away. I'm going to give you my actual winning percentage here. So if I add all of these up, you'll see there's positive and negative pips here. Sum. End up with 1,026 pips. Now, the French election obviously doesn't happen every day. So I'm going to. What happened here is the prices went up so much over the weekend while the room was closed, and so that's what happens. And then I end up with 802 pips here over the course of 14 trading days. Oh, that's not totally fair because I lost one today, and I'm winning another one today. That's hard. I'll just say it's all right. 802 over 4. Realize that this actually would be higher. I think it was 65 when I checked the math this morning. 57.28. That's per day. That's not bad, but it gets better. Okay, so these are my real trades, in case you guys want to see them. This was 1,026. Okay. Okay, yeah, so like I said, started saying before, some of you might be wondering how I can just sort of take this random thing and it kind of, it might seem like I'm kind of piecing coincidences together or something like that, but the truth of the matter is that I'm using, discernible, definable criteria to kind of piece together an entire story. And yeah, that's about it. I'm going to introduce you guys to something called binomial distribution range, and this is how I know that this is how I've mathematically proven that I have. That this is it. Basically, what this is, the binomial distribution range, and I did this by hand first, but I found this little tool to make it easier. We'll take something random, say the flip of a coin has a 50-50 chance, right? We give it 4 times. We try 4 times, and we say, what's the chance that it's going to land on heads 3 or more times? That's going to be this one right here. What's the chance that x is greater than or equal to 3? Well, it's not that bad, 31.25% of the time. What if we were to increase that to 400? Increase that to 300? Same percentage, right? But the chances decrease by, monumentally. This number right here stands for less than 1 in a million. We have less than 1 in a million chance that this result could come from this, with a 50% chance on each flip of the coin. Now, with trading, you're doing the same thing. You're guessing which way it's going to go, right? Now, let's say if you guess, if you completely guess, you have about a 48% chance of guessing correct. And now there's about a 1 pip spread, we'll say. You have to go 51 pips to win it. You have to go 49 the other way to lose, right? That gives you 48% chance of winning it just by guessing. We'll be generous and give it 49 because maybe the EU has a 49% chance versus the UC that has a 47, whatever. You give us the same thing, the same numbers, and mind you, these are all definable criteria that can be repeated. Now you take 225 as the total number, 225, and that 145 successful. 145. Now this number right here, this is the chance that you were able to achieve with a 49% chance. This is the chance that you're able to get 145 or more. And let me show you a more human. This anytime you see like this, that means it's monumentally small. But let me show you kind of a human denotation here. This is how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is at 2 divided by. That's so basically 2 in a million. That's your chances. Those are your chances. So to put this another way, you have, given that this is a 49% chance, you have a 2 in a million chance that this was completely random. 2 in a million. That's the chances that we're guessing. That's the chance that we're just guessing here. And so we definitely have an edge on the market. We almost definitely, 2 in a million chance, have an edge on the market. You don't even get into the 1% until you reach, you give it like 57%. There's a 99% chance that our edge on the market is greater than 57%. That's what this means. Yeah. I don't know that there's much more that I can say about that. If you understand, great. If you don't, just know that we have an edge on the market. I've been working on. The new charts are up. It's 1:36, 8:36 a.m. Eastern Time. This is what I've been working on. It's basically just taking matching weekly and 4-hour signals. We've got right here, we've got weekly up, daily, or 4-hour down, weekly up, 4-hour down, weekly up, 4-hour down, weekly up, 4 hour down. You got AU, weekly down and 4 hour down. So I'm going to go ahead and take the AU. Show the right account here. Oh shoot, the EU just skyrocketed there. I'm kind of scared of the EU right now. AUD, USD. And I have my stop loss and take profit set to 50 already. So I'll just go ahead and take it, double check. 50-50, okay. UCAD up, 4 hour down. EJ and 4 hour is both up, so I'm going to take the EJ up. And it's literally as simple as that. I'm already up 3 pips on that one. And that's it. And we'll just wait. And I always let them go until it hits 50. I mean, I have been because that's what my statistics say to do. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, but I prefer not to trade based on emotion. I like statistics better. They make it easier for me to make meaningful decisions.